Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video I want to talk about my main concerns with the spring update of this test realm. Now, I've been pretty positive of this update, and I think it is a really good update, and it's going to affect the game in a positive way. But in today's video, I want to talk about some of the concerns I have. Hopefully, I can have time to maybe address these things or change them potentially. The first thing I want to talk about is going to be the new Gauntlet gear. Now, if you guys want to know what the actual gear looks like, I'll probably have stuff up on screen right now. Going through everything. You can pause it if it goes over your school and piece of gear you want to look at. However, my main concern with this gear is the fact of the matter, it's essentially the Meyer gear from last year, just 170, and that's fine and dandy and all. The issue is the same thing as Aeon to Novus. There's not enough of an upgrade to warrant and give the player an incentive to go out there and farm that gear. For example, the Stormy Nightmare coat, which was like meta and just absolutely cracked good robe, all you get by farming this robe is 1 damage, 1 pierce, and 20 health. Like, that is that's so bad. Like, why would I ever do that? And the boots are just horrible as well. The hat does have some promise to it, but even then, if you choose to run one of these pieces, you will be at a disadvantage because 4-piece shad right now is the meta. I think it's good that you can craft the gear at a more reasonable rate compared to Nightmare last year, which is really good, and I like that and all. And I really like the stitch. I think it just doesn't feel like an upgrade, and like I said, it's kind of the same thing as the Aeon to Novus, or no, Aeon to Baller, sorry, where it just doesn't feel good to go and farm that gear for basically hardly any upgrade at all. And even if there was a substantial upgrade, it still doesn't give shads, which is the meta in like PvP, for example. But what if I'm a PvE player, Liam? Should I go for this gear? Is it going to be good for me at all? And to that, I say, yeah, it's not bad. You're going to want the coat. Nullity is still going to be king because it's just insane the amount of damage you get on the robe, and it's just really good. But yeah, as a PvE player, that's pretty much all you're gonna want from this. Next up, I want to talk about the missing TC. Now, in case you guys don't know, a lot of spells got banned this update in the main deck. So for example, Efreet in main deck is banned, but it's not banned in side deck. Or, you know, you have something like Sun Serpent in main deck is banned, but not in side deck. Or Hydra in main deck is banned and changed, but in side deck it's not changed. So basically, this just shows King's Owl forgot to work on the TC with this test realm build of the update. I'm really hoping that's what it is, and they're not planning on leaving this broken stuff in the game just in TC form, because I don't see how it's going to help anybody. So I'm really hoping they can hit a lot of the TC that are, you know, above TPP within this update, or do not follow identity and stuff like that, and just really address some of the players' complaints within the TC in general. For example, I think it's kind of unfair that some schools like Storm literally don't have a single good card to put inside, aside from like Clanker maybe. In general, I want to say this update has been great for shaking up the meta and just the game in general. I think it's gonna potentially bring back some competitive integrity to the game and make it feel better to play. I've been playing a lot of test realm PvP to try and gather feedback for a video like this and the devs, and here are some of my concerns regarding what's new that's overtuned and what is still overtuned. So I have number 1, Vampire. Now, this is basically the whole 3-fold stacking, and then Vampire doing like 1500 value without a buff, and then stunning you for 2 rounds for 4 pips. Absolutely insane card. Weakness counters did get a bit better this update. However, those counters are, again, a lot of pips compared to Vampire, which is an incredible move in terms of drain, damage, value, and just like the chromatic -60s. It's just way too much. I think the card needs to be severely toned down. Like, the chromatic weaknesses should be split in half if it's going to be that much damage and have that much tempo and drain and be chromatic. It's just too much, and the players have made it clear they just don't like it. It's too oppressive. Next up, we have Ghoul. Ghoul is just like way above value. Like, I don't even have to be a dev to work on the game to tell that. You know, a shield that's practically free turning into 2 really powerful, just normal blades practically, absolutely insane. Compare this to something like the new Kraken Storm got, right? You're giving up 2 weaknesses for 1 crappy heal over time, just really bad, and Ghoul is literally half the pips, and 2 actual blades is way better than just 1 useless heal. So I really hope they can nerf Ghoul and just make it like 1 shield for 1 blade, or like nerf the blades down. Next up, we have Drains. Now, this is a primary concern the community has been complaining about for months, years even, arguably. Kind of became apparent to me with this update. I've been doing a lot of PvP, just on Test Realm and stuff like that. And I actually got to a point where my open Storm Oni actually proportionally did the same as a buffed Wraith. A single buffed Wraith. So, I'm not really sure what to say to that, but it's just absolutely broken and stupid and should be banned until it's fixed, or like it just needs to be fixed right now. It's extremely unfair, and you know, Death having more damage per pip on the Drain than like a Fire with way better stats than a Fire and a Storm just makes it so broken, not fun to play against. I think Drains are important to Death's identity, but identity is no excuse for something to be wildly unbalanced the way it has been for months and years at a time. Lastly, I want to talk about shield gambits. Now, these got pretty big of a nerf for the schools that counter shields, like Fire, like Myth. Balance is okay against it as well. Again, they seem to miss the community complaint of it's not reasonable to counter the shield gambits. If I'm on a Storm and I'm using a King Artorias, it is numerically not possible for me to counter the gambit and like keep tempo and like do something with it, right? So for example, I need 4 Fire pips on a Storm to even cast King Artorias, right? Typically, there's going to be 1 round in between there. You do not get the pip. So it's about 4 to 5 rounds before I can even cast the counter. To kill a Storm, all you have to do is Mythblade or Aura, Tri-Shield, and they're dead. So that's about 3 to 4 rounds to kill a player and 4 to 5 rounds to actually counter it. So you kind of see the issue here, right? And I was doing this for hours on end yesterday on stream, trying to figure out like how I could do better or stay alive better to actually make it work, and it's just simply numerically not counterable. And you kind of have to try and use these new higher pip spells to, you know, get value and try and counter them, because we've seen, you know, for all the 5th age, the counters they have in the game right now, Oni's Forge, Jin's Defense, you know, Minotaur, Chromatic Elephant, they just don't work. They're not good cards. So unfortunately, it seems we're back in the same boat with, you know, the counters for shields not working, and it's just too much damage too fast on those shield gambit schools. So again, if they could just simply make the shield counters actually work and be better, or severely gut and nerf the damage on the shield gambits to the point they're not absolutely insane and literally one-shotting a Storm in 3 to 4 rounds without them even able to hit back or counter the shields. I also want to talk about the HOTS library. HOTS did not really get a buff this update. DOTS got a buff this update, which is pretty cool. However, they just made the HOT library like a bit better. Like the new Owl, for example. Yeah, if you can get the conditional setup, it is a good card. However, it doesn't matter how much value this element path has if it's not realistic to obtain. For example, I need to cast Oni's Forge 4 times, and my opponent would have to shield 4 times in a row for me to even get the Gambit set up. And on that 4th time I cast it, I'm actually going to lose that first heal and not have any pips to even do anything. Hot generation is simply just not there in the game right now. The closest thing we had to good hot generation was the last update with a 5 pip Stormzilla that turned 3 weaknesses into 3 HOTS, which I think was good. They just need to last 4 or 5 rounds. So HOTS need to be easier to obtain and more reasonable to obtain. And they're just bad in general because the heal overtime component doesn't matter with how high the damage is in the meta, right? Healing overtime doesn't matter when I'm dead now, right? So I think they need to put a lot less value actually on like the whole healing part of it and look at it more as like a ramp and gambit setup, because that's what you're going to be using it as, right? Is like pressure to actually stay in the game and leverage your identity, because it really is inconsequential when you just get nuked for 12k by a myth gen. That heal over time I have just doesn't matter. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I got for the video, guys. That's all my concerns I have for this update of spring. Like I said, in general, I think it is a good update. I don't want to, you know, be like just negative for being negative in this video. I actually want to have a constructive feedback video, and hopefully this helps the devs and we can get maybe a little bit of these things changed before the patch rolls out to live realm. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and a sub, and if you have any suggestions for what you think should change in Wiz, comment them in the comments below. And of course, be respectful, guys. We all want Wiz to be better at the end of the day, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you for watching, and take care, y'all.